starts right now.
Well, a federal judge has issued a ruling blocking the implementation of Senate Bill 10, which requires the 10 Commandments be displayed in all public classrooms. Now, parents of students in several Texas school districts, including Alamo Heights, Northeast, Northside, and Lackland ISD, asked for the injunction, arguing that it imposed on their religious beliefs. Now, in his ruling, U.S. District Judge Fred Byrie wrote that the state did not attempt to limit the 10 Commandments use to relevant course curriculum and said the law crosses the line from exposure to coercion. Now, the decision comes just days before the law was supposed to take effect on September 1st. The law itself impacts an estimated 5.5 million students. However, the ruling only directly applies to those districts listed in the lawsuit. The plaintiffs hope that other schools will adhere to the judge's ruling.
You know, I've been known to crash a party or two, Garrett. So, So, was there something else?
San Antonio City Council prepares to vote on two very different paths forward. The mayor took over a press conference for the other side. Now, the business community rallied in front of City Hall in support of passing a set of terms for funding a new arena. And Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones, who wants the city to hold off, walked out and took the mic. Our Garrett Berger was there to hear what she had to say. And Garrett, how did this all happen?
Well, members of the business community, such as the Greater San Antonio Chamber, San Antonio Hotel and Lodging Association, and Centro, they were out here on the steps of City Hall trying to rally and show of support of having the City Council pass a non-binding set of terms for funding a new Spurs arena. Those terms include the city kicking in for up to $489 million to help build the arena. But just a few minutes into the press conference, Mayor Jones walked out of City Hall and accepted the mic to beat a familiar drum. She wants a new independent economic impact study by someone not connected to the team and multiple meetings for community feedback before the council decides anything about terms. Now, Jones says she wants a deal, but she wants more data first. Her unscheduled appearance included asking a worker how much they made and even getting quizzed by Spurs Jesus.
What are you going to say to the people? You said not on your watch. What are you going to say to the people of San Antonio when it happens on your watch? The Spurs decide to move to Austin, and we are left without. What about the economic impact study of what happens in San Antonio and the economic impact when the Spurs leave?
So, to your point, the Spurs have never said that they would leave San Antonio. That is a comment. That is a fearful comment. I understand that, but the Spurs have never said that. The Spurs have never said, "Hey, City Council, if you don't vote on a term sheet on Thursday, we're leaving." They've never said that. Hold on, let's be. We've never said that.
What would you do if they did leave?
We've never said that. But that's not the question.
That was my question.
Now, speakers during the press conference emphasized that money for the arena isn't coming out of the city's general fund, and they think there's enough data to move ahead. They also say there's a cost to indecision.
The bottom line is we're a democracy government. Our elected officials are going to vote tomorrow. I feel positive of where it's going to go. We welcome the mayor to talk with us and meet with us. She's been very good about meeting with me when I've had questions or concerns. I compliment her on that. Surprised by her showing up, but conversation is never bad, and we'll move forward from there.
Now, the mayor seems to have been making an effort the past couple days to get in front of any camera she can and try to turn up the pressure. Now, it appears to be an attempt to get constituents and voters to call into their council members to exert some pressure, because right now it does not seem that she has the votes on council to go for a pause. But we won't know for sure until tomorrow morning's city council meeting. But no matter what city council decides, voters will also weigh in on a Spurs Arena project that's already on November's ballot for Bexar County voters to decide whether or not to fork over the county's share of funding this arena. Live at City Hall, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thank you, Garrett, for that live report. And taking a look outside with a live cam, we're at 90 degrees. It'll be a good some time time to, get some shade like Garrett might be doing over there at City Hall.
I know. I noticed that he was in between some trees. You could still see a little bit of that sun peeping through, and that's going to be what you're going to want to do. Some areas will see some rain. Other areas will just see the sun, the temperatures warming up. But let's take a look at areas that saw rain yesterday. Over an inch of rain in areas just to the north in Timberwood Park, over in Utopia, just about a quarter of an inch of rain in areas of Kerrville. Now, not everyone saw the rain yesterday. It was basically along Highway 281 and just to the west is where we saw the rain that some areas saw yesterday. But otherwise for us, we do have another chance later today, but temperatures right now still just at about lunchtime, sitting at 90 degrees in San Antonio, 92 in New Braunfels, and most of us have warmed up very nicely into those mid to upper 80s. I know Kerrville earlier today was waking up in the 60s, so they were a little cooler this morning, but over the next few hours, we're going to really see our temperatures increase, and even around 3 to 5 p.m. we're going to start to see the rain chances also increase. Still about a 30% chance of rain later today, and it's going to be very spotty in the afternoon, late afternoon, and even into the evening hours. That's when we're tracking the isolated downpours and the heavy downpours at times, where you can see pockets of 1 to 2 inches. Now, flooding is still unlikely for most of us. We're not expecting any hail, but some minor street flooding is still possible. Similar to what we saw yesterday, just not as widespread. I'll go over the futurecast of what you need to know for the rain chances today. Plus, take a look at the tropics and the rain chances for tomorrow coming up in just a bit, Steph.
Thank you, Shelby. Well, issues with evidence being brought up again in the capital murder retrial of R.C. Curtis. Now, Curtis is accused of the murder of 75-year-old Paula Boyd back in 2015. And this case has been plagued with evidence issues since the first trial ended in a mistrial back in 2021. Now, Erica Hernandez joins us live from the Justice Center. And Erica, what happened this morning regarding the evidence?
Yes, Stephanie. So in a hearing outside the jury's presence, the defense had issues with bank records and surveillance footage that the state was trying to admit. Now, one of the things R.C. Curtis is accused of besides murder is stealing Paula Boyd's credit and debit cards and then using them right after she was murdered. Now, those bank records, when admitted by law, have to be officially from the bank. But the defense said there are notes on the records, and some of it was not obtained by the bank, but by the victim's daughter, which they say means they are not properly authenticated documents. Defense attorney Charles Bunk getting heated at times when arguing about this issue.
Their laziness and ineffectiveness does not excuse the rules of evidence. It's the state trying to cheat.
Now, some of those records were not allowed in, and some that were, the actual bank records, was allowed. As far as video surveillance footage of Curtis at the store using an ATM was an issue because the lead detective said the time wasn't accurate on it. The judge ruled it can't be entered unless somebody can verify the video had the wrong time. Now, the current witness on the stand is the lead detective on the case. I do expect the defense to fully attack how he handled this case as well as how he handled evidence when it is their turn to cross-examine him. We'll have a lot more on this later this afternoon. Live at the King of the Rivers Justice Center, Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thank you, Erica. Well, parents of Camp Mystic flood victims are testifying right now at the Texas State Capitol. Zaria Oates has been in the hearing room since they began around 10 this morning, and she joins us live from Austin. Zaria, what have these parents been sharing with lawmakers?
These parents are so strong. They've been sharing for about 2 hours now just how incredible their little girls were who attended Camp Mystic. All of these parents lost a child so far in that flood on July 4th at Camp Mystic. Now, one of the things that they've been really harping on is making sure that SB 1, Senate Bill 1, gets passed. Senate Bill 1 would allow for or require for camps to follow certain guidelines and regulations, including not being in a dangerous zone like like in a flood-prone area like where Camp Mystic was. They are also requiring for these camps to have Wi-Fi access so that they can get emergency alerts. And then they also want to make sure that these camps have a genuine plan for these campers to be able to evacuate quickly and easily, and so that everyone is on the same page. This has been something that all of the parents who have spoken so far have been in favor of. Another thing that was really important, Seal Stewart's parents spoke. They said that they really want their little girl to be brought home, that they've been talking to her little sister, her younger sister, and that has been just tragic and unimaginable, having to explain what's going on and to not have her daughter at least home and having a funeral with her body here. That has been something that multiple parents have brought up. It's just how one camper is still missing and several other people are still missing and being looked for. They are still speaking, and they expect for this to go a little late. We haven't gotten an exact time, but we will be live streaming this hearing on KSAT.com, and we'll be updating you later throughout the day as to how this goes. But for right now, it does look like SB 1 will not have any trouble passing through the Senate, because all of the senators are very much on board with making sure that SB 1 passes so that these campers are safe in the years to come. Live in Austin, I'm Zaria Oates.
All right, thank you, Zaria, for that live report. Well, accountability, that's what a group of Edgewood ISD parents are demanding after a mother was arrested and charged during a school board meeting. Now, you've seen this video play out on our airways and also on social media. And now we are finding out more about the woman, her nonprofit, and what led to her ending up in handcuffs. Our Patty Santos reports from the Bexar County Jail, where that mother is being held.
We're right outside the Bexar County Jail. Usually when we're out here, it's because someone inside has been charged with a serious crime. This time, it's a mom, a San Antonio woman who was accused of going over her allotted time during a public meeting at a school board. That's Maribel Gardea. She was escorted out of the Edgewood ISD school board meeting last night. Now, she is the executive director of Mind Shift Ed, a nonprofit that supports education for families in vulnerable and underserved communities. She was asked by Edgewood ISD parents to represent them in their efforts to reach out to Edgewood ISD leadership. Families have been complaining about bullying and safety at schools and was presenting a petition last night to the board. She was given 4 minutes to speak. She spoke in Spanish first, and then she started reading her English statement. That is when her time was up. And we can see from the streamed meeting that her mic was muted. But Gardea continued talking. That is when she was escorted out. Now, outside, that is when witnesses tell us police continued to harass her. Community members say this is one example of how the school board leadership is trying to intimidate parents.
They're trying to just install fear on the other parents, which is unacceptable, and they didn't read her rights, nothing. We were asking them what is she getting arrested for, and they weren't even telling us nothing.
School Superintendent Eduardo Hernandez issued a statement last night, in part saying, quote, the individual's actions were not in alignment with EISD board operating procedures and code of ethics, necessitating their removal, end quote. And this morning we did try to reach out to the school police chief and the communications office for an interview with Edgewood ISD leaders. They declined an interview this morning, and we really just wanted to ask how often it is that a parent who is actually charged for going over their allowed time during a public meeting. This is something that we're going to continue to follow throughout the day. You can head to KSAT.com for more updates. I'm Patty Santos.
Well, as San Antonio grows, the options for entertainment, food, and just about everything increases all the time. And now is your chance to give your favorites a boost. We're going to show you how this noon. And how many police officers does San Antonio need? That is up for debate right now. However, the city's hands may be tied when it comes to increasing those numbers. Well, San Antonio now debating how many police officers it needs. The current budget includes just under 2,900 officers, with 118 new ones this year. So many new hires are filling vacant park police or substation roles. The focus is on how many officers are patrolling and responding to 911 calls or doing proactive work like traffic enforcement. The city wants to add 360 patrol officers over 5 years. However, budget cuts mean only 25 may be added next year. Some council members want to increase that to 65, but not everyone agrees that more officers will be the answer.
That was a commitment that we made to residents to have those 65 police officers. Residents don't care about our elections and who said it when. They care about the commitment that was made to them.
And so what are better returns on investment? It's integrated approaches, right, that include addressing root causes of crime. And it's a much better investment. So, for instance, lighting.
Well, adding 65 officers instead of 25 would cost an extra $8 million over 2 years. The city will need to find that money somewhere, but right now it is not clear where. Looking out there with live cam, we are heating up, but wondering if there are any allergens in the air to be aware of right now, Shelby.
I know Courtney, anytime we hear during the noon, she's always like, yeah, I can feel the allergens, but today we're only seeing molds and they're still sitting at about moderate levels today because we've seen so many rain chances and rain levels and rain showers over the last few days. But the good news is it has allowed the aquifer to increase just about half a foot today and just about 5 inches. But what we are watching is similar to what we saw yesterday. A few more brief downpours still possible today and tomorrow. I'll go over the future cast of what you can expect coming up after the break. Good afternoon here on this Wednesday. We're still seeing temperatures on the warmer side, sitting at about 90 degrees here in San Antonio. But one thing to note is that we're still seeing those mostly clear skies. And so that's allowing us to feel a few degrees warmer, feeling like 93 already. And throughout the next few hours, our air temperatures will continue to increase. And with that, it will allow us to feel a few degrees warmer on top of seeing that humidity increase as well. But not only that, the temperatures, the humidity, the rain chances increase late this afternoon, even into the evening hours, tracking about a 30% chance of rain throughout the evening hours. Might have a small chance to impact your evening commute. And we're expecting a few downpours. We're not expecting widespread rain, much like what we saw yesterday, but still enough to give us at least a few degrees of a cool down if you do get caught in the little rain showers. Now, the good news is after sunset, we start to see the temperatures decrease, but most of us will continue to be feeling the temperatures on the warmer side. 99 degrees for our peak temperature in San Antonio, 100 up in Austin, Carrizo Springs, Freer, Cotulla 101, Laredo 102. And then we start to see the rain chances, like I mentioned, throughout the next few hours. So here's that future cast. We're going to continue to be tracking that cloud coverage over the next few hours. And in between 2 to 3 p.m., that's where we're anticipating the first few showers and the first few downpours to really start, but not really having as much of an impact until right around that evening commute. So you'll want to continue to stay posted. Adam Caskey will have the latest forecast at about 5 p.m. But it's still going to be very isolated over the next few days and the next few hours. And then as we go right around sunset, that's when we start to see a little bit of improvement with the chances of some showers overnight and even into tomorrow morning. But here's the thing. If you don't see any rain today, don't worry, you have another chance tomorrow. And that's because of a weak boundary system moving through just to the north. Now, as I zoom out here, you can see most of the showers and storms will continue to be just to the north in areas of the Hill Country, Rock Springs, Del Rio, even stretching into areas of College Station. That will continue to move through areas of across basically that I-10 corridor, and it will continue to break up as we go throughout the lunch hours, but there is still that chance and that possibility as we go throughout the afternoon. We get that daytime heating, we get more of that little ingredients to get some of those stronger thunderstorms in the afternoon, that it is still possible to see a few more showers and a few more thunderstorms to develop in the late afternoon into the evening hours. Once again, we'll continue to keep you posted, especially because it's going to be not only your evening commute, but also kids are going to be coming home from school. So that's why we're watching that potential for that chance for any sort of thunderstorms. We're not expecting big flooding events. It will be very minor street flooding over the next few days. 60% chance of rain on Thursday, 40% on Friday. And then as we head throughout the next few days, we're tracking the rain chances to start to decrease.
Shelby will take the rain while we can get it. Well, your favorite business could get a boost, and you can help here. We're in a search of the best San Antonio has to offer, how to make your voice heard.
Hey, Devin, what are you doing? Just having one of my favorite donuts from San Antonio, and we here at KSAT want to hear your favorites in San Antonio. That's why voting for KSAT's SA Picks is open. Check out all the different categories you can vote for your favorites around town, whether it's your favorite gym, your favorite food, your favorite kind of food, heck, even your favorite museum. It's all here online at KSAT.com. If you want to vote for it, just go to the link in our bio and you'll get a chance, because we want to know what's the best of the best in Alamo City.
Thanks, Devin. And as he said, voting is now open. You can scan that QR code on your screen to choose your favorites. You can vote for each category once per day.
Hurricane Erin is churning its way up the East Coast. I'm Olivia Rubin with ABC News here at Rockaway Beach, where officials say right here behind me, the water is one of the most dangerous parts of this storm coming up.
Well, Hurricane Erin is skirting closer to the East Coast, and it is currently about 400 miles off of North Carolina right now. With fierce rip currents and very high waves expected, swimming is now banned at most beaches up and down the coast, including in New York. ABC's Olivia Rubin is at one of those beaches, Rockaway Beach in New York.
Today, Hurricane Erin taking hold. The storm not expected to make landfall, but still expected to bring dangerous rip currents, high waves, and flooding along the East Coast. In North Carolina, a state of emergency and mandatory evacuations underway in the Outer Banks.
As soon as waves, it doesn't even take a storm. We've been here in the past where just waves and a normal high tide can wash over and push the dunes down into the street.
Bracing for winds over 40 miles per hour and waves up to 20 feet.
I want to emphasize the importance of taking this storm seriously, because it's a serious storm and conditions can deteriorate quickly.
The waves already pushing past dunes in Rodanthe. Ocean water filling some streets. Crews working this morning to try and shore up the dunes.
We don't have a very wide beach, and that means we're going to have tremendous amount of ocean overwash. It'll close the roads down there. It'll mean we can't respond to calls. It'll mean we can't provide services.
Business owners preparing to be inundated with water.
This one's not even going to hit. It's just the high water we have to worry about. We're really just worried about wave action.
Red flag warnings along the East Coast, too. Many beaches closed to swimming, including in New York Thursday and Friday as Erin churns north, bringing more dangerous rip currents and waves up to 12 feet.
The effects of Erin already picking up here by the water. The waves are crashing, and those red flags are out as a big warning that officials say the water is just not safe. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, Rockaway Beach.
I was just talking to Shelby about the graphics of Erin, how large it looks, but it may not be as big as it was, he said.
Yep, so within about 24 hours, it went from a tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane, which is the worst type of hurricane. It's the most. But the good news is over the weekend, it really kind of shrunk. And right now, take a look at Hurricane Erin. It is just a Category 2 hurricane as of the 10 a.m. update, still producing strong winds, still producing 110 mile per hour winds. But the good news is it is still not expected to make direct landfall for any portions of any sort of continent. Now, what we are starting to see, though, is we're starting to see the rip currents and the surges. Although it's not expected to make landfall, you're still going to feel some of the after effects, which is why there's still tropical storm warnings in effect for much of the East Coast, going from the Carolinas all the way up even into New York, because you're still going to feel some of the effects from the surges. Now, the good news is it's already started to make its slight turn, and it will continue to weaken into Category 1 hurricane by Friday morning, and even by Saturday it will be well out past Nova Scotia. Now, we are still in hurricane season, so until about September 10th we are on the increase. September 10th is peak hurricane season. but we still are going to be in hurricane season for another month or two as we go through, and the Atlantic is still becoming more and more active. Not only do we have Hurricane Erin, but we're watching 2 other areas per the National Hurricane Center that do have some sort of tropical development. I'll talk about what you can expect for not only the one just near behind Erin, but also the one that we're watching closely behind that, even coming up in just a bit.
Thank you, Shelby. Well, 200 plus kids will be heading back to Hunt School this morning, and the school was in the middle of one of the most historic floods in state history. Our Patty Santos has been following the community's journey, and she tells us this school year will be a little different.
Hey there, good morning. We are here at Hunt ISD with the Superintendent Lucy Harmon. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning.
Happy first day.
Yes, we've been looking forward to this day for a long time, preparing for this day for a long time, so we're so excited that it's finally here.
And I know these classrooms look a lot different than the last time I visited. You guys have been working a lot to make these look like classrooms again.
That's correct. So the last time you were here, we had cots in here for our recovery and response people. And so now we're transformed back into classrooms. We no longer smell like K9 units, and we're ready for the kids to come back.
What are you looking forward to this year?
Well, it's going to be a really special year, first of all, because we have had so many people reach out. We've had, a balloon artist reach out that did all the balloon decorations in the entry for us to make it special when the kids come back.
I know that the focus is going to be on the mental health, not only the students, but the teachers as well, right?
Correct. So we did a lot of work before school to get ready during in-service. So not only providing them with tools on how to work with the kids, but also how to take care of themselves. I mean, we even had a day where we had a masseuse here doing chair massages for the teachers as they got their classrooms ready. And
I know you've seen a lot of these students and these families before school started. So, a lot of them are already kind of comfortable coming in, but now let's get to a routine.
Yes, exactly. And we knew early that it was going to be important for our kids to see each other and our parents to see each other before the first day. We couldn't have today be the first day that everybody sees each other. The first time a lot of our parents walked in the building, they were emotional in the events that we've done before school. And so that was a great icebreaker for us. So we all feel emotionally ready to have a great day.
Well, we hope you have a beautiful new year that, just straight A's for everybody.
Yeah, we're going to have a great year. We appreciate you. We appreciate your presence with us throughout this whole thing. So we appreciate the coverage that you have offered, Patty, and that KSAT has offered. And so thank you for journeying with us on this interesting journey.
It's an honor to be here. And we hope you guys have a great first day. Reporting from Hunt, I'm Patty Santos. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Patty, for that report. Checking back with the communities along Hunt. And the city of San Antonio facing a big budget shortfall if things don't change. Revenue from property taxes, sales, airports, hotels, and development is growing slower than expected, which could leave the city about $10 million short this year and a deficit of nearly $31 million next year. So city leaders are reviewing programs to close the gap, and they want to hear from you. Well, from August 18th to the 27th, the city will be holding budget town halls where you can learn about the proposed plan and ask your questions. Tonight, there's a town hall for District 9, and that one's happening at the Walker Ranch Senior Center on West Rhapsody Drive starting at 6:30 p.m. The city will vote on the budget on September 18th. Well, our Courtney Friedman is on the road again to the Hill Country, checking in on another hard-hit community. This is Comfort, and they sustained a lot of damage, but the lasting effects are still hitting small businesses there in general. And our Courtney has an update for us now.
Yeah, hey, Steph. We are here in Comfort today. We're making an effort since the flood to check in with all of the communities that were affected. We know Comfort and Centerpoint are some smaller communities that we know were hit really hard, but are not directly with Kerrville and Ingram and Hunt in that area. So we're checking in on how people are doing. And we're here at the Comfort Chamber of Commerce. I'm about to go in and do an interview with them about the small businesses that have been affected. Even if they weren't wiped away by the flood or flooded or affected, their business has been diminished. People were not coming during the flood activity. And then there were also some food trucks that came and were giving away free food. So this is a restaurant example, but they really are hoping people will start coming back and giving their families business because that's what they need for their livelihood. So we're scooping up this story and then we're going to head to the river and talk to some of the survivors. And these stories we'll put together for you for the next few days.
Well, the Department of Homeland Security plans to paint the steel wall along the southern border black. Now, Secretary Kristi Noem says this is an effort to make the wall too hot to climb during warm weather. The chief of the U.S. Border Patrol added that the black paint will also prevent rust on the wall. Noem didn't say how much it would cost to paint. $46.5 billion in the president's recently passed sweeping agenda bill is dedicated for border barrier system improvements, and that includes completing construction on 700 miles of primary wall and adding advanced technology such as cameras and sensors. Well, people applying to live or work in the U.S. will now face questions about what the Trump administration calls, quote, anti-Americanism. Now, authorities say that includes an expanded social media check. They say immigration officers will look for, quote, any involvement in anti-American or terrorist organizations or, quote, evidence of anti-Semitic activity, end quote. So immigration advocates and lawyers are criticizing that move. They argue it could deter people from coming to the U.S. Well, President Donald Trump's 50% tariff on steel and aluminum imports has taken effect. More than 400 categories of common items that contain steel and aluminum are now more expensive to import to the U.S. Baby strollers, spray deodorants, and fire extinguishers are among the items affected. U.S.-based importers are now in a tough position. If they accept goods that they've already paid for that are currently in transit, they will have to pay those higher tariffs. However, if they decide to stop shipments, they will likely lose money. Facing a tariff rate of 50%, businesses will almost certainly pass some of that increased expense on to customers. McDonald's is slashing the prices of its combo meals after admitting its menu has gotten too expensive. The fast food chain says its most popular combo meals will be 15% less than the cost of buying those items separately. It is also expanding its combo offerings to include a $5 breakfast deal and an $8 Big Mac and McNugget special. So the lower prices will go into effect next month.
Taking a look outside with live cam. Today might be a good day to go get a McFlurry. Speaking of the McDonald's trend, is temperatures are still going to be on the warmer side and we're still seeing the sunshine. And that sunshine, sadly, is going to be continuing to decrease. Today, we have about just 13 hours and 3 minutes of sun and total daylight. But just in about a month or so, we will be losing about a minute and a half of daylight every single day leading up to September 20th. But the daylight isn't the only thing decreasing. Our temperatures over the next 7 days will continue to decrease into those mid 90s, and that's because of some rain, but also we're still watching the tropics. I'll break down today's rain chances, plus take a look back at the tropics coming up after the break.
And welcome back. It's 12:46. Some of the last kiddos going into high school and elementary school started this week. I think next week starts with some universities, but it's been a little hot for the most part.
I know. That's the one thing I remember from my college move-in was there was no ACs in the dorms.
Oh, no.
Granted, it was North Dakota, so that was common, but it was like 95 when we moved in. So it was a little toasty. So I'm hoping that everyone who's doing college move-in this weekend or next weekend at least is able to get some water, because not only is this weekend going to be hot, today is going to be hot. Our temperatures right now are still sitting at about 90, but over the next hour or even the next few hours, we're seeing our temperatures continue to increase. Our peak temperature is expected to get to about 99 degrees, and we're also going to start to see the rain chances increase as we go throughout the rest of your late afternoon, even into the early evening hours, like I showed you earlier with that future cast. And wherever we see the rain chances, it will allow us to be a little on the cooler side, at least a few degrees cooler. Not everyone will see it, but where you do see the rain will continue to be a few degrees cooler. Still about a 30% chance over the next few hours with the rain chances. Right now, though, not picking anything up on authority radar, so we are still staying towards that track of 2 to 3 is when we can start to see the first chances of these isolated showers. And with that, here are some of the threats and the impacts and what we're watching. We are tracking 1 to 2 inches in isolated spots wherever we can see these isolated downpours, because they can be heavy at times. That's why we have that 1 to 2 inches possible in some spots. Similar to what some areas saw yesterday, just not as widespread. And with that, it also has that chance to lead to some minor street flooding. Not everyone will see it, but especially during your evening commute, you might be driving on the road or picking up some of those kiddos from after school programs. You might see a little bit of some water on the road, so definitely watch out. Another thing, we're also tracking some stronger winds. Gusts can be up to 40 miles an hour. Yesterday we had some where it got to 50 miles an hour, and even especially as the ground's so saturated, there could also be some branches. I know we had a few reports of that in the hill country yesterday, and this is a look at that rainfall potential over the next 3 days. You notice how you don't see a specific color in a certain area. There's a little bit of different pigmentation and different colors everywhere, especially as you get closer to the coastal plains near Beeville in between Victoria. That's where we're tracking a greater chance at some rainfall accumulation, not as much widespread as we are expecting. And even into the weekend, we're still expecting another chance of some isolated to scattered showers on Saturday before we finally start to dry out and warm up once again on Sunday, feeling a few degrees warmer as well. But take a look at this, going back to the tropics. We're still watching Hurricane Erin moving in between the United States and Bermuda, but we're still watching that 60% chance of some storms. It's now moving from where this X was this morning, just along that forecasted path. It might move a little just to the east of where Erin actually was. But here's what we're watching. Now, it is still a week away, and this is a 40% chance of development over the next 7 days. But it's starting to catch our eye because as of now, it's starting to take a little bit of a southerly track. And as it does, it could either move just to the north near Bermuda, where Erin and that other potential tropical wave is going to go. But another thing is it could also move just to the south. Now, earlier today, it showed it was moving a little more southerly, so we'll definitely keep you posted, especially because as it gets closer to the United States, the Gulf temperatures are warmer, and even then the Atlantic temperatures, the water temperatures are warmer. So we'll keep you posted on that, especially because we're still in hurricane season and it is still very active. But take a look at, once again, our 7-day forecast. Still about a 20 to 60% chance of rain over the next few days getting into the weekend. Sunday looks to be gorgeous, especially for some kiddos wanting to spend some outside time after the first few weeks of school stuff.
Thank you. Hopefully they'll get a little break. Thank you, Shelby. Well, no cell phones in the classroom. That's a change many students are getting used to now. This noon, we're going to have a look at the impact this could have on kids and their education. Well, students going back to school this year might notice something different in their classrooms. No phones allowed. And parents and students have been adjusting to the new rules on campus. But what does it mean for their education? Our Devin Cart breaks down what the community is saying and what some professionals think it could do for students' social skills.
It's a simple question, but one that has parents and kids divided. Do you need your phone in school?
I think so, yes, definitely.
I don't think it's really necessary.
Oh, I'm kind of iffy about that.
There's a lot of stuff out there, so we wanted to kind of keep them focused.
Texas's ban on personal communication devices in schools took effect in June. And for some parents, it's brought up concerns around safety.
I would want them to have it either on silent or somewhere accessible where they can just right away, because God forbid, a lot of stuff that's going on, you never know.
Others see it as a chance to build real-world skills.
Just the responsibility, them understanding that, if they don't have the right uniform or if they didn't bring their lunch, they're going to have to figure that out, right? And those are life lessons that they're going to need to carry on.
I think the thing that probably is even more alarming is the rise of kids that maybe don't feel like they're connected with their peers in school.
Neurologist Dr. Seth Van Zandt and inpatient program director Rick Edwards both say they've seen the effects of too much screen time and what it does to a young brain.
Connections that are formed, the brain pathways are formed during those critical times, especially the younger years between 2 and 6 and 2 and 8 can be affected during that time.
They think lowering that screen time and finding a balance with your phone is key. And using time in school to make friends and try new things can be huge later in life.
We can start on some of these kind of skills, the better, because they do build off of each other.
Important role in getting kids to think about outside of just what's on their screen and what's in their community.
Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
And you may have noticed that some schools have different rules than others, so the Texas law was designed to let different districts choose what is best for them, like SAISD and NISD, who say students cannot use their phones at all during the day. However, districts like any ISD let students use them at lunch and during passing periods. So if you want to know what your school is choosing, you can visit our website, ksat.com, for more information. Every district has until September 18th to have their policy in place.